Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video.
Squarespace is the all-in-one platform for building your brand and growing your business online. Stand out with a beautiful website, engage with your audience, and sell anything: your products, content you create, and even your time. Utilize Squarespace email campaigns to drive sales and engage your audience. Introduce your brand to new subscribers with welcome emails, announce upcoming sales, or send out a discount code. There are built-in analytics to measure the impact of each send. They have such flexible website templates. It's so easy to get started by choosing a template and then customizing it to look and do whatever it is you need or want. And a huge help is their analytics system. This is where you can gather and use all kinds of insights to aid in helping to grow your business. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you are ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/oliviareadsalatte to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you once again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video.
Good morning, you guys. Wow. We're gonna put that hair right back down where we found it. You know it's a monthly reset when I am taking Ginger to go get her monthly shot. So that's what we're gonna do first. Okay, so we are back from getting Ginger's shot done, and I am going to set up the first week in my A5 2024 Essential Weekly Planner from Aura Estelle. I've wanted to try this, and I like to line up when my planners start. So because my next memory keeping sticker planner, which is hopefully going to be shipping soon, starts in July, I figured. Well, it doesn't. It starts in whenever I want because it's undated. But typically they start in July, and that's when my birthday is, so I kind of feel like it's like fitting to do it then. Let's see. So all of this is just random pages. Like, it's just grid pages, and the rest, let me just show y'all. We'll do a little flipsy. So this is the Aura Estelle Annie Plans Essential Weekly. It's the dated, so it was on sale, and I figured, well, it's alright if we don't use the first half. Who cares? We'll use the second half, and then if I like it, I can use it for next year. So it has all of the monthlies. Wait, does it have the monthly and then it goes into the weekly? Oh, I'm kind of obsessed with that. Okay, so let's find it. That's May. I think this is June. So here we have July. The first monthly, and then we go, boom, a page for like blank things. I like that, to have like a little note page. And then we have this. This is what I'm excited about. So I'm going to be able to have my little to-do list. I'll have my week to-do list. And then here is like the journaling section that I'll have. And that's perfect because I really don't need more than that, is what I've realized. The reason that I keep not sticking with the Hobonichi, I think, is because, well, with the Hobonichi A5, there's too much going on. So I think this is basically like the Hobonichi Weeks, but big, and I'm excited for that. I am gonna use some stickers, but I don't know from what kit because I don't have my memory one yet, so maybe I won't use them for this. I don't really know, because I'm not gonna lie, I did not realize I bought this horizontal. I thought I bought the vertical version, and then it had like blank pages on the next page. But honestly, I kind of like this. and I think that this will go really well with what I want to do. So we're gonna fill this out, get the to-do list ready for the week because there's like a lot going on, and then yeah, everybody wanted to be in here while we film the reset, especially this one. I don't know, I fed her, I repiled her food, literally. Your guess is as good as mine. Hello guys, so what a hodgepodge of this vlog that's occurring. Honestly, I'm okay with it. It's just more of a vlog. I decided that this was gonna be a mid-year reset instead of just the July reset. So I decided that midway, fitting, keeping with the theme of mid. So I am going to do my little routine of clearing off the shelves. We're going to put all of my library books onto the shelf that I currently have checked out. We are going to go through like the books that are on my radar. Ginger is just rubbing her face all up on this tripod. It's crazy. And then I'm going to take the books for the wrap up off of this shelf so that I can film that later. And then we'll go through a couple of Fairy Loot books and see what I would want to read perhaps. But yeah, that's the plan. So we're going to get into a little ASMR moment. And yeah. And I actually already have one book I can put on my red shelf so far for the month, Miss Mistborn. Soon we will have some more to join it. Now we have all of the library holds that I currently have checked out. I have Dark Age, and this one I will be buddy reading with a couple of pals. I'm very excited to get into this one. Next up, I have Kill for Me, Kill for You, which is a new release thriller. I then have the next book in the Orphan X series, The Gathering by C.J. Tudor, The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, Before They Are Hanged by Joe Abercrombie. This one is looking to get picked up soon. So over here we have all of my Fairy Loot and Illumicrate books that I have recently got. I have a few that are on my I think I want to read this soon list. One of the, actually these three, Nectar of the Wicked, of Jade and Dragons, and To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods. I also want to read Darkest by Four. Down here I started that one. Then, I don't really know, maybe Evocation, because I've never read a Gibson book, but also I've seen a couple people read it and enjoy it. And then I would also like to read Honey Witch. Like, look how just absolutely beautiful this book is. Like, it's a little bit crazy how absolutely stunning this is. So yeah, some of those we might pick up. I'm not 100% sure yet, but they are kind of all on the table, to be honest, because I want to read down my Fairy Loot and Illumicrate books a lot before the end of the year. And then down here is my On My Radar, like kind of just a very loose version of kind of what I want to read. I'm not doing hard TBRs, as you can see. I'm gonna give that up. Doesn't work for your girl. But the book club book for Patreon this month is The Dead Guy Next Door, which is like a cozy mystery romantical vibe. Kind of sounds good. And then A Curious Beginning by Deanna Rayborn is the club pick for July and August with the book club that I host with Mel. And then honestly, out of here, the most that calls to me immediately is The Mime Order and How to Age Disgracefully. other than, like, obviously my book club picks that I already chose. So, those are all kind of the... Maybe we'll read these this month. I don't know. So, those are all of the little options that we've got going on, and then pretty much from now until November is my goal. So, July, August, September, October, 4 months. I want to read all of Stormlight and all of Mistborn. So Jess is doing a Stormlight Archive read-along on her Patreon, which I am pledged to. So I'm going to be reading probably at the pace that they are. And I believe that they're starting The Way of Kings end of August, I want to say. So I'm probably going to start a little bit sooner because I don't want to be reading anything other than maybe the end of Rhythm of War into November. Like, I want my goal to be that everything is done before November so that when I inevitably have something roll over into November, that would be Rhythm of War, so that it's the freshest on my mind for December. But because the book comes out, I'm talking about Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson, when that one, the 5th book in the Stormlight Archive, comes out December 6th, that's too early in the month to really be finishing a lot. And I think my brain's gonna want a little bit of a break from all the huge epic fantasy, because I'm also really in an epic fantasy mood. Like, I really want to pick that Joe Abercrombie up. Currently, at the moment, I am reading Middle of the Night by Riley Sager, and I have just been getting so distracted with being on my phone, looking at all kinds of things people are saying, people are doing. I need to just stop. I need to focus, like, on what Riley Sager is saying and doing, and how his little bookie book is playing out. So I have completely charged up my Kindle Scribe so that I can go snuggle up in bed and read that, and I'm pretty excited about it. I am also kind of excited about this being a middle of the year wrap up. I just feel like it's more fitting for me. I don't know how to explain it, because this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to figure out how to do a wrap up for July, like just to be posted in July, but not necessarily, that's a nice sound, not necessarily a wrap up just solely for July. But then I also wanted to do the mid-year book tag, but I didn't just want to do a solo video with the mid-year book tag either. And I don't love sit-down videos. They're not my favorite thing. I like to sit down in videos and like have little chatty portions, but then, you know, the organizing of the shelves and the B-roll and the this and the that, like, partway through. So I think that this is the perfect merriment of all those things. And I think that it's probably going to be what I go do going forward. So maybe for, like, I'm already thinking towards the next time there would be like a big reset would probably be end of year reset. So I could have like a prepping for the end of year and then also have a new year reset where at the prepping for the end of the year I can go all over my stats and all the good stuff of reading, and then for the new year reset I can go over my goals and just kind of interweave those sit down video ideas into something that's more like what I do, because I just feel like I don't want to plop it in a weekly vlog because that's such a long video that I know a lot of people listen to that like it's a podcast, and I want to have a lot of like visually nice to look at things if you're into that, like with the setting of the books and all that jazz. So it wouldn't really fit in there. And these shorter vlogs I feel like are a nice just little thing for during dinner or during your lunch break or, you know, whatever. Not that that's exactly what I do with vlogs, but it is. So yeah, that's the goal there. So for now, I'm gonna go get started on my July TBR and see if we can knock more books out, because Mistborn's not really fair. I was already almost done with that. Anyways, so now we must go. Now I must go do the reading. Okay, y'all. House is clean, candle is lit. I'm gonna make us a coffee and then we're gonna sit down and we are going to chat all kinds of bookish things. So, let's go grab our coffee. Hello. So, we have done, I feel like, most of the things that I would do to have a little reset moment. I'm currently doing sprints on Patreon, and I decided today would be a good day and a good time to round this vlog out. We are nearing the end of the month. I feel like July is a reset month for me. It kind of resets for the upcoming rest of the year, the new season coming. It's just, I love doing that. But also, I think it is time we do the mid-year book freakout tag. Now, I am doing a condensed version of this. I basically just ran through a bunch of the questions and I decided which ones I thought were interesting and I had something to say about. Some of them I don't really have anything to answer, so I decided to just cut them out because, like, they don't matter. But I do have 10, and then we have a little bit of stats we can go through. I am really debating it making a story graph, if not to like use regularly, at least to get the stats and import my Goodreads and get like all the statistics for the end of the year. I don't know. Not sure. We will see how it plays out. But I have 10 things, so let's go through them. So question 1 is best book that I have read so far in 2024. And I have a few. You know that I'm never gonna pick just one. It's simply not gonna happen. So I have 4, and they are the most random genres you can imagine. So first up, I have a science fiction, and that is Project Hail Mary. I was absolutely obsessed with this book. The audio is the way to go. That is actually kind of a theme with the books that are my favorite this year. I've been really enjoying the audio productions of a lot of books, and this one is just, it's got like a thriller mystery element, science fiction. It's a feel-good kind of book at the end of it, which I was nervous it wouldn't be, and it was just all around such a good fun time. Like, I just highly recommend. You're following a character who wakes up on a spaceship, has no idea who he is, what he's doing, where he's going, but there's 2 other bodies next to him that are no longer with us, and he has to figure out what is happening. And it is a phenomenal novel. Next up, I have The September House. This is a house that every September the walls begin to bleed, and the woman living in it is facing a problem because her daughter is coming to stay because her husband's missing. And her daughter's like, what the heck? And from there it unfolds. It is such a great audiobook. I feel like at first the vibes were a little weird because I was reading it physically. Then I switched to the audio. Oh my god. Immaculate. So good. Next, I have a really random pick for me because I don't really do historical, but I may get into it now, is The Warm Hands of Ghosts. This is a novel told through a few different points of view, all third person, but different people we're following throughout, I believe it's World War I. Part of it's on the war front, the other part is the sister of a lost soldier. Her whole tale is like she is going over there to find her brother because she's like, he's not gone. There's simply no way, I don't believe it. She gets confirmation via post and is like, oh no, we definitely have to go over there. And it's just kind of a beautiful story about love and loss and grief and death and living. It's just so good. It is so beautiful. The way that the story is told is beautiful. Syntax is beautiful. The word choice is beautiful. It is just such a lyrical novel all the way through. Like, in every aspect it can be. It is just wonderful. That one I read physically. I don't know if I would recommend the audio because I did not listen to it. And then the final one is more of a silly goofy time, and it is Bless Your Heart. This is the beginning to what I think is going to be a series. There's at least a sequel coming. And it is this long lineage of women. I think there's the granddaughter that her mom, grandma, great-grandma, I think there's at least 4 generations of women in this family in this small town in Texas that essentially run is it a mortuary? No, funeral home. Well, that's the same thing? I don't know. They run a funeral home, okay? They're putting the bodies together to be put in the ground. And sometimes the bodies don't stay down. And they're the ones that have to come deal with that. And more bodies start rising. So they have to deal with it more. And it is such a fun time. And the plot twists got me. I cried in this book. It was a lot. The audiobook is perfect. The accents are wonderfully done. It was so good. Oh, y'all, it was so good. Okay, next up is best sequel that I've read this year, and that is definitely Glow of the Everflame. That book was just so good. It's the sequel to Spark of the Everflame, which is a fantasy romance series. If you like the very stereotypical, like, there is a revolution and a war brewing, and these people are in charge of everything and they're descendants of gods, and then the humans are like really getting the brunt of everything, and oh my gosh, which side am I gonna fight for? Wait, this side's more human than I realized. Like all of those kind of very stereotypical, I feel, YA fantasy tropes, but it is an adult romantasy. You will enjoy this. It is a very fun time. It's a very fast read, and I love it so much. I highly recommend. In each book, so far I've only read the 2 because the 4th one keeps getting put off. Ma'am. So I haven't read the 3rd one yet because I'm paranoid because every single book has an incredible cliffhanger and I don't want that for me. I want the 4th book ready for me. So the 3rd one is new releases that I still want to read, and to be honest, I only have, and this ties into the 4th question, anticipated release. The only anticipated release I have is Wind and Truth. So I don't really have any new releases that I'm like, oh my god, I still need to read these like ASAP. I actually am more focused on backlist titles right now because I need to read all of Mistborn. I need to finish Mistborn Era 1 and start and complete Era 2 of what's published, and then catch up on Stormlight. So I don't really have time for the new releases. I'm sure I'll find time. Don't fret. But I should not. I should not find that time. Book 5, Biggest Disappointment. Super easy. Hofast. Awful book. Terrible. I'm not gonna go into it further. Just a bad book. It really poorly written. Barely edited. If that book had been able to stay in the oven like another year, could have been great. Instead, we got whatever that was. So, okay. Now, number 6, the biggest surprise of the year, is The Blade itself. I did not think that I would be a grimdark girly because honestly, the way that people talk up grimdark, you would think that it's like really awful. And everyone that I've seen that reads Joe Abercrombie says he's like the grimdark king. It's just gory and guts and like blood and stuff. And I mean, that's pretty much the fantasy and the sci-fi that I read anyways. So apparently I'm a grimdark girl. I don't know. I feel like everyone has a different definition for that word. So I'm like joking. I'm not actually gonna be like, I'm a grimdark girly. Like, I mean, that's kind of iconic. But I love Joe Abercrombie. I am very much into that. He is one of my new favorite authors, which also goes into the next question of my 2 favorite authors of the year is Joe Abercrombie and Penn Cole. Very similar vibes. Both grimdark, you may say. A book that made me happy for number 8 is Bless Your Heart. I just loved the southern vibes. I loved the vampires. I loved they're not a coven, but like a group of women that are essentially hunters. I loved all of it. It was all fantastic. It was all silly, goofy fun. I really loved it. And then the last one that I have is a book that made you cry, and that was Nosy Neighbors. This one is about a group of tenants in this house that is being threatened to be foreclosed on and they're gonna have to move. And so one of them takes it upon himself to try to stop that, and something happens to him. So 2 unlikely tenants, a very young, spunky, is she a millennial or Gen Z? I don't really know. I feel like everybody puts those 2 together in like a vibe. But she and then a very old bitter Betty have to team up to solve what the heck happened, and it is shockingly emotional. It is very wholesome. It was just a very sweet novel. I really enjoyed it. And then my actual last one is like the prettiest book that I've gotten so far, and I have it on display right here all the time. and that is my Fairy Loot edition of The Warm Hands of Ghosts. It is just an absolute stunner of a book. Like, she is so beautiful. She is so beautiful. Everything about this book is perfection down to this special edition. And she deserves this beautiful special edition. I love it so much. I keep it right here so that I can see it at all times because it's important to me. Now, the only stats that I have for y'all are the fact that I had a reading goal of reading 52 books. I set my reading goal at 52 books every single year because I basically just want one book a week, because no matter how big or small it is, that's not a big weight on me. Like, I will finish at least one book a week. And I have been wanting to read some bigger books so that, you know, cuts down on how many I read sometimes. However, the current number that I am at for the year so far is 65, which to me is quite impressive. I cannot believe I have read that many books, and the majority of them are fantasy, sci-fi, or fantasy romance. So they're all relatively chunky books. So wow, look at us go. I don't know what we'll end up at. I guess my hope would be maybe to read 100 books, and I don't want to make it 120, which I have in the past and I've easily surpassed. But I don't want to do that because I know that I'm going to be reading some big fantasy and sci-fi books to catch up on Red Rising, to catch up on the Cosmere, and I want to do Joe Abercrombie's backlist. So like, I have some big chunkers in there that I don't really want to focus on a number. And I'm also shifting how I look at that number. Like, it's really cool to look at it and be like, oh my god, I read 65 books so far. That's crazy town. But I don't know, that is less than I have read most times by this time of year. But I'm happier with that number because they're almost all books that I've enjoyed. Like, truly, this is probably the year with the most 4 and 5 star reads. Mainly 4. 5 stars as well, but not as many 6 star reads. Those are 6 star for me is more of like, this was a well done book and super emotional. Like, I'm invested in this book and had an emotional reaction out of me. 6 stars. That's like my 6 star rating. And I have had just barely any 3 stars. I mean, some books I've been like flop, hate you so much. Why did I spend this time here? Hopefast. That's not the majority, and I'm loving it. And I think it is because I am more meticulous with what I read. I am not reading books that I think are even iffy. Like, I'm like, no, I'm gonna enjoy this. Or if I'm not gonna enjoy it, we're not picking it up. Like, I have time, but I don't have time. You know what I mean? So anyways, that's my little mid-year tag for the mid-year reset. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am going to now go and continue reading so that at the end of the year, I can bring to you all kinds of new books to recommend, because specifically right now I am obsessed. I think it's the Gods and Monsters series by Amber Nicole. The first book is the Book of Azrael, and I cannot express to you how much I'm enjoying this book. Like, it is so freaking good. Speaking of Hopefast, if Crescent City was done right, we got the Book of Azrael, and that's so much better. It's what Crescent City thought it was gonna be. It truly is, and I will not change my mind on that. It is what, it's so good. It's what Sarah couldn't have written, honestly. And that, I said it. It's true. So I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you drink your water, stay hydrated, be kind, and go have a good day on purpose because you deserve to have one. And I will see you on Wednesday with a weekly vlog. Bye! Bye!
Hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. All the good times just begun.